Hello and welcome back. So next up, we have a hugely topical session that I'm guessing will be of huge interest to all of us, not least the home team. I'm so delighted to welcome Reece Clifford, Business Solutions Manager at SAS. So next up, we have a hugely... Reece is going to be talking to us about a new normal, the safe return to venues, something I think we're all very passionate about, particularly in this sector. Reece is passionate about analytics and specifically the deployment of analytics and the best practices and frameworks of how to do so. He works as a business solutions manager at SAS, helping companies access, govern, and benefit from their data and analytics. Reece, the stage is yours.
Nice one. Thank you very much. You should be able to hear me and see me.
Yeah, fantastic.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And thank you for everybody who's joining and for letting me speak today from a rather gloomy room here in London. So apologies for that. So my session, A New Normal, the Safe Return to Venues, is part of the group today as part of AI in Action. I'm going to be honest, I'm not specifically talking about AI. I'm going to be talking about optimization and how that is going to help the safe return to venues. Although I may have a sneaky feeling that others, if they were honest as well, would say that they're not specifically talking about AI. So it could have been an interesting one to look to. The fact of it says in action, so change it slightly to optimization in action, suggests that we're getting something from the solution. So optimization in action means that we're actually putting that optimization into deployment. And you heard from my bio that that's something that I'm interested in, the frameworks around it. And that was really something that drove the development of this solution as part of working at SAS. A lot of the time, I think we talk about models being put into production and that being a success, so the deployment. Although I would actually argue that it's when the model is being deployed and affecting something in the real world, so in this case, a safe return to venues, a decision, that's when we're really succeeding and values being seen. So I think that is definitely something that needs to be taken into consideration, but also the fact, and similarly as what was said in the presentation before me, was the fact that we can trust this as well. So there's that openness, the non sort of black box approach to this, so that we can let, in our case, fans or spectators at venues understand what's being done to help that return to venues, but also to help regulations and governments and health bodies at the moment, specifically during the pandemic, to understand what it is being done, how it's being done in a safe manner, because I think safe is the key aspect here. I know I myself probably wouldn't return to a venue to watch my team that I support if I didn't understand that it was being done in a safe manner. Specifically to do with how we're looking at deployment, the idea of getting first-hand value. Just going to share a quick story with you about something that I was lucky enough to experience, and kind of gives you an insight into why this solution was developed and why sport is something that we're looking at SAS. So before joining SAS, I worked for a professional football club, one that's now in the Championship, which is the second division of English football. Unfortunately, or well, fortunately for them, it was that's higher than when I was there, down in the lower leagues than that. Hopefully not a causation of me leaving, but ask my old boss and the gaffer, and he might have something different to say about that. But essentially, it was just me and another guy who were responsible for the physical preparation of the entire first team that was there. So I was responsible for gathering and using data to help understand how physically ready, where players could physically improve, so their speed, fitness, etc. And we used simple questionnaires and GPS data from training and matches to do that. And to be honest with you, if I didn't use that data in a way that helped the coaches come to a decision that they couldn't do on their own, with information that they couldn't gather themselves, or in a way that they knew that they could trust their decision better, then I was useless. I was providing no benefit to them. And I'm not sort of embarrassed to say that those questionnaires, the GPS data, we weren't doing particularly advanced analytics with that. We definitely weren't doing AI with that data, but we got a lot of value out of it. and I think sometimes we get a little bit caught up with the the glitz and the glamour of what analytics can provide, and we need to remember that it's there to help decisions and help fans return, or in the previous presentation, help the safety in a city or other. So I think it's been a great sessions today, because we've been focusing on the AI in action aspect, and I don't think that it should be solely, we shouldn't solely think about it as AI. But let's bring it back into context of specifically what I'm going to talk about. So as I've kind of alluded to, this isn't the most far out solution. It's not the most advanced, the most jaw-dropping analytics that we're using, but we're using optimization, so SAS's optimization algorithms, in a way to be able to really understand what it's like to be able to return to a stadium. So to better illustrate that, I've got a quick little game that we can have a look at. And this is a game that we've developed just to show people how the solution is working, and ultimately the benefit that this provides on top of what a human could be able to do. So all I'm going to do is try and map out the most amount of seats that I possibly can do within the seats that you can see on the screen, and then submit this. I failed. That is maybe a little bit more embarrassing, because I didn't socially distance these two seats. And I actually took nearly 10 seconds to put 4 seats in, compared to 14 from less than a second by the algorithm. This gets harder as you start to look at real world examples of what some stadiums look like. So I'm going to, as quick as I can, start filling these in, understand maybe where some of these seats could go, try and get as many in as possible. You can see now that I'm trying to bunch the seats, because that's probably the best way that I'm going to get it in. So I got 19. That's not too bad, compared to the 26 from the game. But again, you can see total time 12 seconds for me, whereas less than half a second for the optimization algorithm that we're running. Final one, the most difficult within the game, would be this third level. So again, as quickly as possible, going to try and put in as many seats. You're probably all looking and shouting at the screen, telling me where to put them, but I am under pressure, so I'm trying to do the best that's possible. I think that one might not count. And there we go. Let's see what happens. So 18 seconds, 24 seats. I did pass the 2, which is nice. But again, I'm still 9 seats off, and quite a considerable time difference. So that gives you an idea of the reason why we think this solution is one that is valuable to venues, to sports teams, but to other venues as well. Any fixed seating example, which is what you can see in front of you here. So this is for North Carolina State University. It's our development partner for the solution, and it's one that we used when we were initially looking at the solution to first roll it out. You can see here that, of course, look at those time differences that we got within the game. Imagine the time difference and the difference in seating that you're going to get across this entire stadium. Examples of this, let's make this the active scenario. You can see the difference in seating that would be available, and that's been given to us by the optimization algorithm. And just to say, there's a lot of flexibility in here, both in the way of which you would deploy this, so integration with ticketing systems, ways that it could be allowed to be seen by the fans, and also for the club to be able to understand, do they want to maximize by number of attendees, so the maximum people in the stadium, but also allow them to actually maximize the number of revenue. And we found that it only takes one game for a club to repay the cost of the solution compared to the uplift that they're getting from the solution with the revenue that they're seeing, compared to their human sort of handmade examples of what they were delivering as part of the solution. So overall, we're able to achieve what we set out to achieve. We're using analytics to over and above what we could achieve as humans, and doing it in a way that is deployed flexibly for those to use. So if you do want to know more info, I'm going to take some questions in the section afterwards. So feel free to come on there, and we can have a chat about it. Appreciate it was a little bit of a whirlwind tour, but yeah, thanks very much for having me.
Reece, thank you so much. Gosh, so in a past life, I was the protocol manager for the Olympic Stadium at 2012 in the London
Nice.
Olympics. And my God, we needed this back then. We had to manually count chairs so that the ticketing team could assign the right tier of tickets, obviously for the opening ceremony, as well as the different and various athletic sessions that were running, and then for the Paralympics as well. So I thought that case study was fantastic, and I wish you all the best with how you now get lots of players in the industry to take it on board. I can definitely see the value. Thank you so much. And as you said, Reece, as Reece said, he's going to be sticking around for questions from you all. So our team has dropped the link if you'd like to join the Q&A with Reece. And we are going to be back in a few more minutes for our final presentation of the day.